Hey YouTubers, and welcome back to another, basically a mini-series on my channel where I'm discussing Dragon Ball. I guess you could say it's a what-if or a theory or anything like that. Basically how you take characters who are kind of on the offset of the original canon of the show. You know, not people who were necessarily into the manga or the anime or anything else like that, but stuff in the offshoot stories of Dragon Ball, be it the movies, the video games, or anything else. And I talked to you about exactly, who those characters are and how you could basically take the general concept, not necessarily the character itself or the backstory of that character, and introduce them in some way, shape, or form into the Dragon Ball Super manga or the Dragon Ball Super anime going forward into the series, because we know this series is actually going to be really, really big. It has been big. We're not necessarily sure how long it's going to stay on, but personally, it doesn't seem like it's going to be ending anytime soon. And if Super has taught us anything over the last 2 years or so, is the fact that they're doing the best they can in order to kind of give us everything in our fandom that we wanted. Now, I have talked about this stuff a bit in the past. I'll put it in the very end of this video. Actually, I've talked about what if Dragon Ball Super actually introduced, Bardock or Launch or even Broly before the whole girl Broly kind of showed up. Before that actually dropped. I've also talked about Janemba, and I'm hopefully going to do more of these as I kind of think about them, but I can't do them very often because I don't necessarily think about them very much. But anyway, today I'm going to be talking about Tapion. You remember Tapion? He was kind of the time-traveling, sword-wielding, mohawk-having badass that everyone really, really liked from the third film of Dragon Ball Z, or 13th, I mean. And this is an interesting thing. So basically, if you remember back in the Future Trunks arc, basically at the very beginning of it, you had Goku, Vegeta, Beerus, and Whis kind of sitting around eating ramen and everything, and Whis was talking about how, yes, there was originally 18 universes, and Zeno got mad, so he destroyed 6 universes. Now, I really had a big problem with that, because it does create a really big inconsistency with a rule they established earlier on in the franchise, where essentially there's 12 universes, they're all twins of each other to make 13. It's like, it seemed like it was kind of a set rule, and that's kind of a rule to live by universally. But if you add 6 other universes, you kind of completely mess up those rules, especially if you have universes that go across universe 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and yada, yada, yada. So that was always something that I really didn't like. But if you remember, if you do keep up with it, the manga kind of explains something earlier or later on in that particular arc with Gowasu basically showing Zamasu all the time rings, and it's explaining that not all those time rings basically came from Trunks. In fact, the very first one came from someone in some other universe. And in fact, maybe all of those came from other different people, and not necessarily all came from Trunks back in the Z days, even though we kind of thought that at the time, or at least I did. What if Tapion, being basically a time-hopping, awesome guy from one of those other universes, 13 through 18, was going back and forth in time and even kind of hopping universes the same way we're seeing right now in order to kind of stop a huge antagonizing force? And in fact, because of that, because of all his meddling, creating all these different time rings and all these different timelines, in fact, what we had was Zeno actually got really mad and wiped out those 6 universes in order to basically not only stop people from time traveling, but also stop the threat that was kind of approaching or anything else, or at least kind of retroactively, even though he didn't, whether he knew or not or anything, he retroactively stopped that threat, at least for the time being. So basically you have Tapion, maybe he's even in another universe at this point. That would be my guess. What if he, right before Zeno basically destroyed all the 6 universes, he hopped into another universe or hopped into a certain time period where now he can kind of be introduced into the modern day timeline of Dragon Ball Super. And maybe even, I don't know if you would say he would either interrupt the tournament, or maybe this is something afterwards, but you take basically the same concept of the character coming in and really seeking help or really wanting help, because whatever he was trying to do, while it might have been tamed by the destruction of the other universes or some other means, he is really worried about other people basically getting hurt from this entity, and he seeks the help of Goku, Vegeta, and everyone else in order to fight his battle for him, or at least to help him fight his battle. So you have someone like Tapion, who is cool and such a fan favorite, basically making his way into Dragon Ball Super in order to actually fight this big upcoming threat. And you got essentially an explanation as to not only why the other universes got destroyed, but also kind of tying it into an entire new arc that can kind of one up, or at least essentially one up this upcoming arc from Dragon Ball Super with the Tournament of Power. So that's just my idea. I'm not necessarily sure if that actually makes sense to everyone listening, but it's just kind of like an open idea. Please make sure to tell me what you think about this in the comment section below. I'd really like to hear everyone's thoughts on this. Do you want Tapion to come back? Do you want him to basically be put into Super some way, shape, or form? Would that be kind of exciting? Would that be kind of too much? Is he just kind of too different from everything that we're seeing in the series in order to work there? I mean, any thoughts y'all have on this particular character, this particular theory, or anything else, and I really want to hear them. Other characters you want me to try to think of, some kind of way, shape, or form that they could actually be put in the series. And anyway, guys, I'm going to catch y'all in the next video. I hope y'all have a good day.